Hey folks, Moxie Wu here. Just wanted to give you like an overview of kind of like best parties for Raiden Shogun that aren't particularly apparent. Like for example, everyone knows that Raiden Shogun and Eula are really good together because she provides so much energy particles for her. But here are some of the parties that I kind of came up with after reading and researching, and hopefully this is kind of more educational for everyone. And if you like that kind of content, feel free to give that thumbs up and leave a comment and all that good jazz that YouTube people say. But anyway, I'll start off with this party. I like to call it the DPS showcase or damage per screenshot party. And Sucrose is here. Gets that Virulence shred, but it can also be Kazuha. It could technically be Venti, but Raiden Shogun is more of a melee person, so half her hits kind of miss as they're bouncing along or similar. Then you got Bennet to ult, and then Kujo Sara, drop her E skill, and then Raiden Shogun to pick it up. And originally I was trying to make Sucrose work with Thrilling Tales to, give that to Raiden Shogun, but swapping back and forth and then having Sara be the one to drop it for Raiden Shogun, it was very, very clunky. So don't really recommend it. You can definitely try it, especially if you want to show that screenshot off of a huge damage to your friends, but not that great. The alternative of this version is you can use Lisa here, and she can actually hold the Thrilling Tales, and with the level 60-70 Ascension she actually has defense shred, so pairs really well with Raiden Shogun. Unfortunately, the press E version of Lisa, where she generates one particle for doing it, is fixed or nerfed, whatever you want to call it. So unfortunately, she's unable to give too many particles to Raiden Shogun. But because this is a 2 electro comp, you don't need nearly as much energy recharge as you would in the later teams I'll kind of showcase here in a second. So highly recommend this one, especially if you're more of a budget player and you might not necessarily have all the options of 4 stars. So it's quite good that way. Next team. They're very popular in China. It's called the national team, where you kind of highlight Xingqiu, Bennet, Xiangling, because they can all snapshot off Bennet's ult for the Hydro Sword and Pyro as well. And then the last slot usually is in another Anemo or Changyan, or in this case Raiden Shogun, and that's why this team is renamed into the Rational team, because Raiden starts with RA and replaces NA of National. Anyway, enough of that lame joke, but very straightforward, very strong. And actually, because you auto attack a lot and their ults cost a lot, doesn't feel too bad for Raiden Shogun, especially if you get C1 or similar. The next one is just a small variant of it, where you put Zhongli in for Xingqiu, or you put Xingqiu in for Xiangling, and the reason for this is just you get more shield power, and if you keep Xiangling here, a lot of times Raiden Shogun builds so much energy recharge, especially in this kind of team, that having the Pyro Resonance as well as the Geo Shield and Zhongli Shred is very, very nice. And this last slot with Xiangling can actually also be like Beidou, for example, or Bennet can be swapped for Xingqiu here. So another option could be like something like, Xingqiu, and then you use like, well, I don't have a Beidou, but Beidou here. And, you can just do like raw electro damage and geo damage ults, and, it's quite strong that way, because especially if you got hard into the geo domain, you can give Raiden Shogun a Bolite set. And, it's quite nice. And you survive the best, I think, on these kind of teams. The next one, kind of off meta, and I'm sure I'll hear something in the comments about how Beidou's ult doesn't work with Raiden Shogun. But what Beidou's ult does work as is a shield. So if you stack Xingqiu, Water Sword, which has a nice damage reduction in their talent of, well, it's just level 9 here, but 28%, and then you also do Beidou here, who has 35%, you get close to 63-65% more shield power. And if you go with something like a 2 Emblem, 2 Tenacity with like HP main sands and HP Helm, while Beidou's ult doesn't hit for much damage, which seems to be counterintuitive, her shield then is quite strong enough that it can kind of like tank a couple blows from Age to Ha and similar, which we'll demonstrate real quick how nice this build actually ends up being in practical play, just because, like I said, I kind of favor parties that have shield just because I'm a little older and play on controller, so reflexes aren't as good as they used to be, so much as I want them to be. I kind of remember being good at games, but sometimes I get out of sequence or similar, and it's really hard to do that. Oh, I love how they says different lines now if you're using different people. And the main thing is with Beidou is you want to try to time her ooh, did not crit on that one. That's alright. We'll redo that in a sec. But as you can see, because of the Thrilling Tales on Sucrose, it's really quite high damage. And the main thing is, especially in these cases, is when you have phases where Beidou can't, her ult is only 15 seconds, but there's like a 5-second gap. I really enjoyed having the sacrificial sword so that she can just shield during that time instead. And if you notice, I just get the ult back in time and boom, 164k. And just to give you an idea of like what the ratio is, like I could pretty much tank like all of the Age to hits there except for the last one, which my Zhongli can barely hold out with the 32k HP with the level 12 talent on his shield, so it's quite strong that way. Highly recommend this version, especially if you have a C6 Beidou, because you're gonna actually have enough reason to do it, because you get electro shred from it, which is quite nice. And obviously this is electro, so won't be able to block everything, won't be able to kill it as fast, unfortunately, but hopefully that was a good showcase. And you know, practically you have enough shield power from Beidou to get through it all. Just that 5 seconds of downtime is really where you're going to have to be very careful, where you try to give either the water source to someone who needs healing and similar, or Beidou can use their counter attack at that point, because you know you can hold it for the 2 seconds here and there and block it. And especially if you have a sacrificial greatsword, it's going to fill that 5-second gap of her no shield very, very nicely. So that way you get like a dual purpose with her. So thank you all for watching and listening, and hopefully enjoy that kind of like off meta kind of team, and you can see how effective it was for in terms of damage showcases even. And have a wonderful day, night, evening, morning, or night again, or evening, whatever it may be. Thanks so much for watching again. Bye bye.